let me thank all those who are here with us today for their support for Senator Murphy's and mine and several of our colleagues' legislation. And you probably know it by now is the Common Core Parental Refusal Act. And what we'd like to do with this bill and the support we have here is deal with one of the issues that are seriously impacting our educational system and our kids negatively. And that is the overutilization of standardized tests, which if you do any research and all the indicators, when you use a standardized test to the level that's being used now, it has a very profound negative impact on the effectiveness of our education, our teaching, and the kids' ability to learn. Well, what this bill says very simply, with total transparency, is that school districts in every school across the state of New York will be informing every parent that they have the right to have their children refuse to take any related Common Core test. But most importantly, because they kind of think they have the right, but they're not sure if they're going to be penalized or not. Because the reality is we're getting a lot of information sent out to parents from different schools and different school districts with information that is not the reality of what is actually the law right now. So we want to clarify that. And what the message is that you can not only refuse, but you can refuse without any penalty. Those who take the test would not be rewarded. You could not be forced to sit and stare in a classroom, which I think is a serious penalty, and you would have to be provided academic work while those others who choose to take the test take it.
The other day on Long Island, they had two opt-out, how can I put it, opt-out forums on Long Island. One of them, there were 4,000 people. The other one, there was 1,500 people. There's a growing movement, and basically what they're saying is for the last couple of years, the parents have been speaking out and saying that these tests are not helping our children. They're hurting our children.
One of the things that was given to me by a teachers group was a pie plate. I wish I had it with me today. And it's very simple. It said, those that can teach, those that can't make laws about teaching. Isn't that the truth? We have people who don't know the classrooms going in there and telling them how they must run that classroom.
This bill, it's important in terms of codifying and protecting a basic parental right, but I think equally important is the provision that tries to ensure that at the local level, our districts can accommodate those parents who are very concerned with their children's education without fear of the state coming after them for doing so.
When I'm in Tim Farley's school and they're telling me that kids are losing control of their bowels because they are that stressed out. When I have a teacher tell me, Steve, I had a blind child. The child can't see a thing, and I'm not allowed to help that child with the test. When you have autistic children that are forced to take the exact same test as other children, that to me is the definition of child abuse.
Now, ultimately, when we first addressed this issue, as the legislature became engaged, people would say, why is the legislature intervening with education policy? That's for the Regents. Well, we know the Regents has failed us, and we know the Regents continues to fail us, particularly on this issue. So it is our duty and our obligation as people who are also passionate to engage.
I just want to say thank you to you because, and also to the school board members and people in education who are here, because I can say almost unanimously parents are in support of us. Our biggest issue is teachers and administrators, though they may agree, they can't come out publicly, and I think that's why our advocacy is so important to fight this battle.
This is reaching into not only everybody's houses, everybody's community, and we have to fix it. This is one of those things in life, it's a must, because the educational department, I believe, needs to change these Regents tests and allow the one-size-fit-all, throw it out the window.
It's very simple. It's bad for taxpayers because it's very costly to administer these tests. It's bad for teachers because, there is no innovation left within the classroom. And I think the third thing and the most important thing, it's bad for students.
We need to ask this question. How come there were no real governors on the governor's board that created Common Core? We have unelected officials. We may call them regents. We may call them whatever we want. making these decisions. The people that are here today are because they're representing their communities, their constituencies. That's representative government. It's not forced down upon us from people whom we haven't elected. We don't know where they come from, and we don't know their value system.
Everyone has their own opinion on the Common Core standards, and that's fine. But the testing regime that's being put on our kids in grades 3 through 8, it's definitely developmentally inappropriate. And quite frankly, it's appalling.
I'm not a teacher, but I would guess that if you asked any teacher, they will tell you that the Common Core curriculum and the high-stakes tests change life in their classroom every single day. Every day. Not just the 6 or so days of testing, but every day. And the children feel this. Students have less time to be creative, to have fun, and to get along with their peers. They're not learning how to think, speak, or be good citizens of the world. All because fantastic, enthusiastic, and passionate teachers across the state are being stripped of their freedom to do what they love in the way that they are highly trained to do it.
So began my research, and the more I researched about Common Core, the more concerned I became. About a month ago, Briana, Will, and I met with Assemblyman Tedisco to discuss our concerns. Our initial goal was to urge him to support the full withdrawal of Common Core, which I am happy to say he had already done. So Briana asked Jim then if he could make us help us in making parents aware that they have the right to have their children refuse this state test. And to our surprise, Jim suggested this possible legislation.
We do not refuse these tests because they are too difficult. We refuse the tests because they are tied to the flawed Common Core state standards. As parents, we want and expect higher standards. The Common Core state standards are not higher standards. These tests do not provide any detailed information to the school district or parents. Instead, we receive a number of 1 through 4. Some testing is good, but testing that is tied to a flawed set of standards is not acceptable.
What's going on, I'm afraid, I don't like to use the word, but I think it's bullying. It's intellectual bullying of students at a time when we are in a big campaign against bullying on the internet, in the classrooms. All over the society, we're pushing back against the bullying of children. And when you give children tests that you know they will fail, you are bullying them. And I'm just very sorry that that is going on. And we as teachers, I think, as parents, we have to support the parents and push back against that.
These tests are invalid and unreliable. Our children are more than just a score. Governor Cuomo is playing politics by breaking the spirits of our children.
There has to be an opportunity for those parents who care about their kids' education and want to be able to interact to it. And they go to their local school board, and the school board says our hands are tied. We have this restriction and we have this mandate, and this is coming down from on high, and somebody else is structuring this, and this is now a runaway train. I want to stop that runaway train. I want us to get back to basics. We have districts that are performing well. We have districts that have needs. The districts that have needs, we have to address those needs. But we don't have to wreck the districts that are working in order to deal with the districts that have need.